Here's Netanyahu making the 666 and V signs. As I said, all of your prime ministers have been Dracs. So Netanyahu is just a continuation of what has been. They've been in total control since the creation of the current Israel. It has been a very long time since you've had a human leader, all the way back to the original Israel. Here's Donald Trump and Mahmoud Abbas making the exact same hand signs. And the reason is, they're all Dracs. You don't accidentally make these kinds of hand signs. These V signs don't mean peace or victory. And these 666 signs clearly don't mean A-OK. It means 666. I am a servant of Satan. There's an illusion that they're on different sides, but the reality is they're all united. They're all dragons working for their father Satan. And their objective is to keep you, all of humanity, in this cage. In the case of the Jews, their objective is to exterminate them. The Palestinian leaders are Dracs. Arafat was a Drac, and Abbas is a Drac. They're in league with the Dracs running Israel. They follow the same agenda. They both serve Satan. They created this false conflict to keep you in an endless cycle of terror. They're using this to distract you from the fact that your real enemies are among you, disguised as Jews, and that they're exterminating you. The Palestinian leadership must also be removed, and all of the Dracs must be removed from the Palestinian population. I have nothing against the Palestinian people, the humans, and I hope that they would agree with my reason for doing this. Once the Dracs are gone, the Palestinians will choose their own leaders, and I will speak to them. There will be no more Israeli military operations in Gaza, and the terrorist attacks will stop. The Dracs are behind this conflict on both sides. Once they're removed, that's the end of the conflict. The terrorist organizations are also controlled by the Dracs through their intelligence agencies. They may attempt to perpetrate more attacks, but it will be much more difficult for them to operate inside of Israel once the identification program is in place. If you're caught without an ID, you'll be taken into custody and tested. If they're otherwise clear, humans will be issued an ID card and released. Dracs will be kept for interrogation and research. Anyone who tries to escape being tested will be shot with incendiary rounds. All of the rabbis at the top of the hierarchy are Dracs. All of the top positions in the Israeli government are held by Dracs. They will have to be removed to liberate Israel from the hand of Satan. That is my Father's will. He does not tolerate these dragons ruling in his house. The synagogue of Satan does not belong in the house of our God. You have allowed them to defile our Father's sanctuary. You must correct this insult. All modern mainstream religions are satanic. Catholicism is the most blatant about it, with its rituals and ceremonies and pyramidal hierarchy. All of the popes have been Dracs. That shouldn't be a surprise at this point. You'll also find that the vast majority of priests are Dracs. Needless to say, I will abolish Catholicism. Riyad Salah is a Drac. He's making an obvious 666 sign here. And he's beginning to revert his center forehead ridge, that sharp crease in his brow, going up from the side of his nose. He's also reverting one of the creases in the skin on his neck, which again is probably a gap between scale segments. Most Israelis know who he is, but for those who don't, he's a prominent leader of the Islamic movement in Israel. Even for the average person who doesn't believe in conspiracies, they'd have to wonder why Yasser Arafat, a supposed Muslim, is making the same hand sign as a Jewish rabbi. They don't appear to have anything in common. They're different races and religions, which are supposedly in opposition to each other. But as you know now, they're actually the same race and religion. They're both dragons that belong to the synagogue of Satan. The rabbi on the left is definitely a Drak, and the two on the right are probably Draks as well. Also notice the guy in the right photo who's making the V sign and giving the middle finger at the same time. As I showed earlier, the crescent moon and pentagram are satanic symbols. That's because Islam is a creation of Satan, and that religion is controlled by the Draks, just like the other religions. Again, you'll find that the vast majority of imams and religious leaders in Islam are Draks. Once they're identified and removed, that would effectively bring an end to Islam. Without the Draks there to dictate and enforce the laws, it would fall apart. The Christian religions are also controlled by the Draks, but they have some validity because they're based on the Bible. The Draks can twist the truth to some extent, but they can't change it completely. All religions are systems of control. The Draks are using them to manipulate humanity for their own gain. The people who belong to these religions are actually worshipping Satan, following his rules and giving up their life force and souls to be harvested as energy. These religions are trying to get you to accept Satan as your god. That's what's really going on. The Draks also use religion as a divider to persecute certain groups or create conflicts, which they've done many times in the past. Wars, inquisitions, and witch hunts. I am the son of the God of Israel, the embodiment of part of his consciousness. I've never been involved with religion, nor will I ever be. My Father does not require this, and neither does your God. It's your willful ignorance that has destroyed you. My Father has shown you the truth many times, and every time you have rejected or simply ignored him, just like you're doing now. He has tried to give you the knowledge to save yourselves, but all you've done is spit in his face for it. You're not even wise to do evil. You're not wise to do anything. You do evil because you blindly follow evil, not once questioning the intentions of your so-called leaders. You're completely unable to recognize when someone is telling you the truth, and you're unable to recognize when someone is lying to you. You have no ability to discern between good and evil. How long will you accept the persons of the wicked? Now you know who that's talking about. You have accepted the Draks as your masters, and they are leading you into darkness to destroy you. They are killing you off and corrupting your soul as they do it, but you remain blind, deaf, and dumb to all of it. Your shepherds are Draks. That's why you've been led astray. That and your refusal to listen to my father, who has been trying to tell you this for thousands of years. For thousands of years, you have been in violation of our Father's first and most important commandment. You have put another God before him, and it's not even another human God. It's an alien God, the God of dragons that we know today as Satan. The religion Judaism is his creation. It is not the creation of my Father. Judaism follows Satan, not the God of Israel. Once I become the leader of Israel, I will abolish Judaism and the rabbinical order. I am the word and will of the God of Israel. These others are impostors. They don't speak for my Father. They speak for Satan. Nothing has changed since then. Baal is Satan, and you still serve him today. You have rejected the will of your Father and chosen to fornicate with your enemies. Time and time again, you have ignored the word of your God as he is trying to save you. He sent me the first time to show you the truth, and you murdered me for it. You cut off the right hand of your God and spit in his face. You have chosen to remain whores to Satan, even though his only interest is to destroy you. This translation uses the word foreign, but other translations use the word strange, which is more accurate to the true meaning. Alien would also be appropriate here. So what this is saying is that Solomon had sex with Dracs. Pharaoh's daughter was certainly a Drac, and there were others among his many wives and concubines. They were the ones that convinced him to put up these idols and altars of other gods, who again are all Satan under different names. So Solomon was responsible for the early corruption of Israel. Those altars of Baal and Moloch that he put up are where the Jews burn their children. It was King Hezekiah and Josiah that destroyed those altars under the commandment of my father. However, I want to make it clear that it is simply not possible for a Drac and a human to produce offspring. It's an entirely different species, an entirely different family, and their genetic code may not even be DNA, the double helix. I've spoken to several Dracs that have confirmed that it's impossible for a Drac and a human to produce offspring. They said that the genetic code is completely incompatible, different number of chromosomes, and different code structure. So there are no hybrids. You're either a human or a Drac. A horse and a donkey can produce a mule because they belong to the same family, and the genetic code is fairly close, with only a few missing chromosomes. But mules cannot exist as an independent, self-sustaining species. They can't reproduce with other mules, only with a horse or a donkey. So in a natural situation, their offspring will always revert back to a horse or donkey. The same is true of ligers. So even if two different species can produce a hybrid, it can't exist as an independent species. Now in Solomon's case, it's possible that some of his Drac wives had children with other Dracs, and then tried to pass them off as his children. That would be a way for them to take over the leadership of Israel if a Drac was chosen to be king. That's probably why my father decided to take Israel away from Solomon's line for a time. This is the purpose of your existence, which you have forgotten. You are here to do your Father's will. That's why he created your souls. You are his hands in this world. In this time, he needs you to fight this war against our enemies, to defeat these aliens that have enslaved humanity. The meaning of this should be clear now. The woman wearing the garland or crown with 12 stars represents the 12 tribes of Israel, and her child is Yeshua HaMashiach. That's me. The dragon represents the Dracs and their god Satan. It has 7 heads to show that they have global dominance, perhaps representing the 7 continents. It may also represent their dominance over time, with each head symbolizing an empire of an era. So this is saying that the Dracs are at war with the 12 tribes of Israel. I am here to lead you in this war against the Dracs, and bring an end to their dominance over humanity.